Hello everyone, my name is SaTales and this is the first episode of my serial Beginner's Guide to Blender. Beside video, I will share in the description link to my free Blender guide. It will stay free forever just like Blender, so feel free to check it out. If you don't know how to install Blender, check out my free guide. Now we can start with the real lesson. You install Blender, now what? In this first video lesson, I will teach you how to move and delete objects in Blender. Now let's open the Blender if you already did it. First, what you will see in your scene are three objects: the camera, the cube, and the light. Before we start doing anything in Blender, there are two important things to know. You can model one thing in Blender in various ways, and most of the time they are all correct. And the second thing is that there are many shortcuts in Blender, so try to use and learn them from the start because your modeling will be much easier that way. If you click here, you will get a drop-down menu with different modes. First, we will talk about object mode. In object mode, you can move, rotate, and scale, resize objects, but without changing their geometry. So let's select our object, the cube. You can select objects in Blender by clicking the left mouse button on it. If there is no orange outline, the object, in this case the cube, isn't selected. If there is an orange outline, that means that cube is selected. If you want to deselect the cube, just click outside of it. When you do that, the orange outline disappears. Before we move on, I will show you another way to determine which object is selected. This is an outliner. It is used to organize all data, select and deselect objects, hide or show objects, and much more. I will explain other stuff another time, but for now I wanted to tell you about active objects and selecting and deselecting objects. This is a sign for a mesh. You can see this gray background around the mesh sign, and it means that your object is active. For now, it is enough to know that there is something that is called an active object. Just as you selected the cube previously with left mouse button by clicking directly on it, you can also select it by clicking left mouse button in the outliner on the name of your object, so camera, cube, light. In this case, your object is called a cube. You will know that the cube is selected by seeing the orange outline on the cube, but also by seeing the blue background behind the name of the object, in this case, a cube. Now, when you know how to select the cube, let's try to move it. But before that, let's try to delete the camera and light because they are not important now. To delete an object, in this case the camera, select the camera and press X. You can also press Del, delete, and remove it from the scene. You can delete the light in the same way as you just saw. As you can see, you can delete any object by selecting it with left mouse button and pressing X or delete. Now that your scene is clean, let's finally move the cube. It is time to learn your first shortcut in Blender. Are you ready? Okay, let's do it. So, how to move a cube by using a shortcut? Select the cube with left mouse button, press G. Now move the cube with your mouse to the position where you want it to be. So for example, I want it here. Confirm the position with the left mouse button. That is it. Okay, now I need to mention about axis in Blender. We have axis in Blender, and this is the best way to show it. So in Blender, we have three axes. X is the red one, for the left and for the right. Y is the green one, for the front and the back. And Z is the blue one, for top and for the bottom. This is minus X axis, plus X axis, plus Y axis, and minus Y axis. This is plus Z-axis, minus X-axis, plus X-axis, and minus Z-axis. You can also see all that on Gizmo. So how do you move a cube along the axis? As you already learned, we move a cube with a G. So if we want to move it along an axis, just press G plus one of the axes. If you want to move a cube along the x-axis, press G plus X and we can move it. If you want to move it along the y-axis, G plus Y and we can move it. If you want to move it along z-axis, G plus Z and we can move it up and down. In the end, we confirm the position with left mouse button. As I mentioned before, there are many ways to do the same thing in Blender, so we can move the cube in one more way. There is another way, and it is Move button. So moving a cube with the Move button. You click here and turn on the Move button. 3 arrows will appear: green, blue, and red. Select the arrow you want, then while holding it, move it in the direction you want and you can. So for example, we select this and move it like this. We can move it just left and right. And do the same with all other axes. Like this, and z-axis up and down. It is easy, right? Now you know how to move your cube in Blender. It is time to learn how to rotate it and scale or resize the objects. So, how to rotate the cube by using a shortcut? This is the angle rotation. As you can see, as I rotate the cube, there are different numbers, and this is the angle of our cube. So how to rotate the cube by using a shortcut? Axis rotation. Select the cube with the left mouse button. If you want to rotate it along the axis, just press R plus one of the axes. X to rotate it along the x-axis, R plus Y to rotate it along y-axis, or R plus Z to rotate it along the z-axis. In the end, confirm the rotation with the left mouse button. As you know, there is always another way to do something in Blender. So how to rotate the cube without using a shortcut? Click on the toolbar, and this is the rotate button. 3 colored circles appeared: red one, green one, and blue one. Each color represents one of the axes. We already learned which color is for which axis, so I won't repeat that again. Select the axis you want while holding the left mouse button. Rotate it in the direction of the selected axis. So this is how we rotate it along the x-axis, this is how we rotate it along the y-axis, and this is how we rotate it along the z-axis. Now it is time to learn how to resize or scale the object. Select the cube with left mouse button. Press S and scale the cube with your mouse to your desired size. Smaller or bigger, you decide. And in the end, confirm the scale with the left mouse button. How to scale, resize the cube along an axis by using a shortcut. Again, the same thing. Select the cube with the left mouse button. If you want to scale it along the axis, just press S plus one of the axes. S plus X to scale it along the x-axis, S plus Y to scale it along the y-axis, and S plus Z to scale it along the z-axis. And in the end, confirm the scale with the left mouse button. How to scale resize the cube without using a shortcut? Click on the toolbar again. There is a scale button. 3 colored lines appeared: red, green, blue one. Select the axis you want, scale in the direction you want, and can while holding it. So this is scaling along the x-axis, this is scaling along the y-axis, and this is scaling along the z-axis. In the end, confirm the scale with the left mouse button. You learn how to transform objects, move, rotate, and scale in the object mode. But there is one important thing. Make sure you apply the transform before editing the mesh in the edit mode. Otherwise, the values between the object mode and the edit mode will not match. So, how to apply the scale to the object? To see the scale of the object, we go here on the item, and here is the scale. As you can see, there is different numbers and different dimensions. What does that mean? You learn how to transform objects, move, rotate and scale in the object mode. But there is one important thing. Make sure you apply the transforms before editing the mesh in the edit mode. Otherwise, the values between the object mode and the edit mode will not match. So how to apply the scale to the object? Let's say we did this. We scaled the object on the z-axis. As you can see, here is the scale x is 1, the scale of y is 1, and the scale of z is 3.35. We didn't change the scale of x and y, so those numbers stay the same. If we change it, they are changing, right? We didn't want that now. Numbers here represent percentages. So 1 is a 100%, which represents the original size. 2 is a 200%, 3 is 300%, and so on. We have scaled the object on the z-axis, so the value changed and it isn't default 1 anymore. Scale values of x, y, and z need to be 1 the whole time. To apply the scale of z or x of y if needed, click Ctrl plus A and apply the scale. When you click that, all the values are applied. You don't need to do it for each value x, y, and z separately. As you can see, now z is also 1, so the scale is applied and everything is good. Congratulations! Now you know how to move, rotate and scale your cube in Blender. I will stop here for now so you don't feel overwhelmed. I hope you enjoyed in this lesson, and if you didn't understand something, feel free to ask. If you enjoyed and be learning with me in Blender, feel free to subscribe and learn more with me. Thank you and have a wonderful day and happy blending. Bye! See you next time!